I am your host, Megalon Jones, and welcome to a special edition of the Sharp End of the Stick. This is the very first playthrough for me for the brand new Cold War game released by Battlefront over the weekend. It's March 1979. Americans are still trying to get into Studio 54. The Empire Strikes Back has just started filming in Norway, and Brezhnev has unleashed the Red Army into Central Europe. We find ourselves on the road between Würzburg and Stuttgart, blocking the advance of the 8th Guards Army. In front of us is the 37th Guards Motorized Rifle Division. And our job is to block them from advancing any further west. As such, I've been giving one platoon of infantry and a platoon of tanks. Second platoon, Charlie Company, Task Force Smith. The tanks are the M60A2 Starships. I know nothing about these things except nobody really liked them, and they spent a lot of time in the garage being worked on. They fire the Shillelagh missiles, and other than that, I've got a platoon of infantry. Each squad has the Dragon anti-tank guided weapon, and we are defending an Autobahn, which luckily has been given us a ridge so we can have hold down positions. It's 8:15 in the morning. The first thing I do is send my air defense teams, Red Eye Sams, up to the high ground so they can get coverage. Whenever mission designer gives you air defense, it means you're probably going to be facing enemy air assets. No sooner does this happen and the mother of our artillery barrages falls right in the center rear of me. This has got to be the BM-21 Grad rocket system. It makes a lot of noise and is terribly impressive, but I suffer no casualties. I haven't set up anything in its kill zone. As soon as the rockets stop falling, I move forward a squad of infantry along with a platoon HQ and a forward observer into some buildings so I could get some eyes up front. Every other rifle team that I've got, I've detached the Dragon ATGM to use their thermal sights, and they have a very short engagement range, about 1,000 meters, so I'm more or less just using the optics. It isn't long before we pick up about 2 kilometers down the valley the first spots of the Red Army. They brought along BMPs and T-72s. We've been told to expect at least a company. Almost immediately, the SAMs start lighting off, and I get the first kill of the game. It's a Soviet fighter bomber. Soviet gear is all designed to move really fast, so you don't really have a whole lot of time to dilly-dally. You have to make your decision when and how to engage them and take care of business, or they'll be right on top of you. And that 125 millimeter gun the T-72 tanks have got will easily make mincemeat of your forces. So I move the starships up to their firing position and immediately begin engaging with the Shillelaghs. That's a command BMP, and it's the first ground kill. That's good. I hope I killed a colonel. The shillelaghs are engaging at about 1.5 kilometers or more. That's something we're going to talk about. In this game, if you can be seen, you can be killed. It feels a lot like World War II in some ways, in that you gotta engage from the flanks. But at the same time, the more modern, or at least the first generation AGGMs are real impressive. I just put a shillelagh through a keyhole between two buildings there. The first Soviet tank platoon that gets spotted gets zapped real quick. Well, I'm impressed with the shillelagh. The dragon is, well, it exists. I've yet to hit anything with that missile other than dirt. But it does provide your forces some excellent spotting capabilities. Second Soviet platoon has taken up its own hull-down positions behind a farm complex. But because of the deployment of the M60s, which are deployed on either flank, I'm able to take shots at them and get penetrating hits. I've basically treated this like it's 1944 again, in that the Americans don't have really the best armor. So I've stuck the tanks on either flanks. That allows for a fire sack, and the point is to not allow anything to bleed past it. As such, I've wiped out one platoon and have a second Soviet platoon pinned down at the center left. The Soviets in this position are in a fairly decent spot, or they're in the best spot along the axis of their advance. It's really one of the few places they got any cover, but they're still getting hit from my right flank, and they can't seem to make the spots as to where the fire's coming from. At this point, if it's out in the open, it dies. Due to all the action on the right flank, I move one of the left flank starships down the Autobahn to the right to add more fire. The T-72s have pegged one starship, but its frontal armor was able to shrug it off. I think pretty much due to the ranges involved. That T-72 there on the right, it ends up taking about 4 or 5 direct hits before it gets inoperable. We're not quite at one shot, one kill type situation yet, like you would get in the modern Battlefront scenarios like Black Sea or Shock Force. One of the big ideas in the operational art of warfare that the Soviets practiced was the idea of echeloning, which is you kept pushing forward successive waves of assault elements. As of right now, we're engaging the third tank platoon I've been able to spot, and this one dies extra quick. And that's it. All the while, the Red Eye SAMs are still engaging circling Soviet aircraft. At this point, I count 3 knocked out Soviet tank platoons. That equals a company. We still got about 30 minutes left in the scenario, and next turn we get some additional anti-tank assets. I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is pretty much the game I've been waiting for Battlefront to deliver from the get-go since I first bought Berlin to Barbarossa 20 years ago. I'll be continuing to play this scenario, and I believe I ought to have this one finished up within a week, probably next weekend. Until then, everyone enjoy your time, and thanks for watching.
After an attack, fires will start in many places. The fire brigade may not be able to help everyone, so it might be up to us to tackle the fires in our own homes. Here is some advice on how to do it. Make sure that you have turned off gas and electricity at the mains. Don't smoke. Then start checking for fires. Start at the top of the house. Check roof space and every room, putting out fires before they get out of control. Small fires can be put out quite easily if they're tackled at once. If they are left, they spread quickly and take hold. Use water from the tap if there is any. Earth and sand are also useful. Put all the members of your family to work putting out fires in the house. When you are satisfied that the inside is safe, check the outside of the house and make sure that you are safe from any fires which have started nearby. When you have seen to your own household, help any neighbor in need. If you have used any of your precious drinking water to fight fires, make good your reserves. Fill up all your containers again and put covers on them. Turn off your water supply at the mains. It may become contaminated. If your house is damaged, you may have a little time before a fallout warning to carry out minor jobs to keep the weather out. Curtains or sheets may be used to cover broken windows or holes. Then listen for the fallout warning. If it comes, take cover in your inner refuge and stay there.